Oops. There we go. All right, guys. How is everybody doing this evening? I forgot to change that around a little bit. Turn that down a little there. All right. So, how is everybody doing? Some good trades out there today. I saw some people making some money. Some stuff hit early today, and then kind of just markets retraced and just kind of flatlined back to where they were. So, some pretty interesting movements today. Oh, let me do this real quick before I forget. Go across, do giveaways. Bam, there you go. You guys are in for your tickets. So I switched. I couldn't stand the white Twitch background anymore, so I switched it to dark, and now it's like totally throwing me off. I'm like, wait, what am I looking at? I'm like, wait, is that my background? Like, wait, what's going on? So definitely throwing me off. Vanessa, welcome. Go ahead and hit the exclamation point ticket now to get into the drawing, and that'll be for pip chips, and we'll kind of explain those. You guys can see James is trying the opposite strategy today. He's going to go in early and try to snag it early instead of the late time grabs there. There we go. All right, Ryan's in. Went to DQ before chart school and missed 2 of my alerts. I feel terrible, and I thought it was impossible to feel that way while eating ice cream. I don't know. It depends what type of DQ it was. I mean, are we talking like, was it just like a chocolate dip cone, or did you get like kind of funky with like one of the butterscotch? Because there'll be more trades, but Vic's like I'm doing mine last. I'm gonna pull the Ernest. You guys are funny. So if you guys haven't looked at it, right? So here is the dark view, right? Definitely it's throwing me off. I'm like, whose is that? I still like the old one. I'm like, I just want the old one, right? Just give it back. Well, I don't know why everybody feels like they need to upgrade everything right now, right? After logging in and looking at the Nanix platform today, I'm like, can we just leave things the way they are? And like, I know people hate change, but I have to say that I hate change that's worse. Right? That's what I don't want to see. All right, so nose is obviously still stuffed up. This happens every year. Not coughing it, which is pretty good, but man, my nose is like a faucet to the inside. So I will do my best, and hopefully, I like kind of want to sneeze. I'm like, man, just give me that big sneeze like the other day, just to clean it all out. It's like literally in the back there. It's killing me. Oh, all right. So if you're looking at the markets today, basically in 24 hours from where they were on Sunday night, they're pretty flat. Sunday night we had a few decent, pretty some movers. The pound had kind of a nice little run. I think earlier today it was up like 90, 80, 90, something like that. This morning for the next presentation. Cute. Oh God. Low quality alerts if received DQ. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a line. I mean, you got to, you're trading for other things. DQ is one of those other things. So you got to kind of, there's got to be certain things you got to be, got to be allowable, right? But for the most part, it was basically a pretty flat day, except for the Swiss. I know Ernest has been all over that one. Brother Ty must be totally bogged down in parenthood at this point. Not sure where he's at, but he was Mr. Swissy, and now Ernest is kind of taking that position from him. That there was a vacancy, and Ernest is filling it. So, welcome, Josh. So with that being said, you can see everything else is basically flat. There's some really ugly charts today, but we'll go through them. As far as news today, you guys can see there really wasn't a whole lot. We have building approvals tonight. I would say that building approvals is one of those like big top 10 things for me. I mean, yes, it's marked as a red, but is that technically a red compared to what we're used to and other things? No, not really. It is what it is, right? Going into tomorrow, though, tomorrow we do have some exciting stuff. So late for me. I know some of you will stay up, and with time zones, it's actually today, not tomorrow. But for me, it's early tomorrow morning. But cash rate for Aussie. Okay, it's expected to drop 0.25%. If it doesn't, markets will fly. If it goes to 0.5, markets will fly. Even at 0.75, I expect we'll have some type of kind of a pretty nice spike. We'll look at the 4 hour to see if we can figure out where the spike is going to be to play a bit of a retrace. Just be cautious, though. Again, the market is already planned for this. again, and an interest rate change is a fundamental change, so it's a little tiny bit different than what we're used to. It's not just an economical, reading. It's an actual, fundamental change. So we got to be cautious of that. But interesting enough, what I'm looking for is except I got charts now. Oh God, Vic, no. You didn't click the beta button, did you? But tonight, it's not so much the rate change as the rate statement that we're looking at. As you know, like kind of, going back and forth through the United States, it's kind of like, is there going to be one more cut this year, or is there going to be two? Well, same thing. We don't necessarily know what the rate cut schedule is yet for the Aussie. In that statement, they will most likely give us some type of an idea. Okay. Then early tomorrow morning at 5:20 a.m., there's going to be also a kind of a press conference. And they'll get to ask some questions, and that's where some of the kind of surprise questions and answers kind of get popped out. But again, should be an interesting night for the Aussie. We should have some movement. I highly doubt it's going to be as flat as it is, as you can see here. Aussie dollar is -3 and Aussie yen is +7. So really flat in 24 hours, but again, something like a rate change happening in a couple hours, big deal. All right. Going into 8:30 tomorrow morning, then we have CAD, and this is basically CAD's only release for the whole week. So we will make sure that we look at CAD yen tonight, but also CAD dollar for the Nadex people. It should be interesting, and here's why. Okay, looking at the previous of 0.2, okay, it's expected to be lower. No one wants to have lower GDP, and again, they're running into some things, and again, lately they've been missing. So I mean, if this goes from a 0.2, right, up to like a 0.3, that would be a huge miss. That's going to give a big boost to CAD. So we'll kind of see. And CAD is one of the ugly charts that I'm really just kind of avoiding right now because of that kind of umbrella formation. I'm just not really into it right now. So, and today it just, I mean, you guys can see it. It's -4. I mean, it was a super ugly chart. It wasn't even worth looking at today, taking the time to do. Just didn't love it. So, but again, 8:30 gives us a potential. If it's a 0.1, we won't see too much movement. But again, if there's a miss in that one, 0.1 or 0.1 or 0.2 in either direction, again, that could give us a nice little spike and then parabolic retracement back again. All right. Now at 10 o'clock we have ISM manufacturing. Now ISM is interesting. This one, the magical number is 50. All right. When you are below 50, it's considered bad. When you're above 50, it's considered okay, not bad. Right. I didn't say good. I said not bad. Market is preparing for an over 50 number. Okay, if we do get an under, that's going to be a heck of a disappointment. People are not going to be happy with that one, and again, that should send the market moving. In particular, again, this is not just a currency play. This is also an indices play. Okay, if you're a Nadex, you go up there and play some of the indices strikes. But this could really, and for me, my personal belief on this one is, I'm actually thinking we're going to get a below 49 and we're going to get a negative market tomorrow. I think it's just going to tank and drop to the downside. Now, one thing, and again, I'm going to warn everybody about this one. The timing of ISM is also what makes it pretty important. Okay, it's not an 8:30 release. It's nothing that traders are, going to, basically wake up and then start doing their pre-market analysis and uncover this news. This is already after the market is opened. Okay, as you know, 10 and 10:30 are the two most popular reversal times. So depending on how the market starts tomorrow morning, this could really flip things around. I mean, if we're having a good market tomorrow morning, this could really flip it and turn it south. My belief is, I think, just based off of what I'm seeing in other things, I mean, earnings are basically flat across the board. Everybody thought they would revise them, but, again, they are flat right now. I'm thinking we may get a below 50 number again. And again, I think that would definitely send us tumbling tomorrow. And it'd be interesting to see what we do in the currencies as well. But then after that, we're kind of just, we're done for the day as far as news goes. It'll be a day of most likely retracements back again after we get a bit of movement. But I think it'd be pretty interesting. See how it plays out. All right, so with that being said, let me jump across and I just pulled it up. Is it this one? Yes. All right, so let's pop our scanners. All right, and see what we have for the evening. Now you can see there's a Euro New Zealand, which again we typically don't cover. That one gets a little bit crazy. We look at Pound New Zealand, Euro New Zealand. It's kind of like another one of those. It's like, I don't know. And then we have Euro Aussie, which again we do look at Euro Aussie. You can see on the lower time frames, we're in kind of a downtrend setup situation. So we're looking at the sideways down confirmed, right? Basically meaning that it has left and gone below the anchor at this point. But on the lower time frames, you see that obviously with this, for it to be a setup in a downtrend, it means it's pushing up, right? So we're seeing a bit of a retest. or not a retracement to the top side, looking for more orders. But it could also be a trend break. So we'll look to see if we're running into a demand zone, and that's why we're seeing this green, or if it's truly, again, full downtrend and it's pulling back, right? Going down here again, remember I don't have icon set on this one. Sideways, not really much down here. None of the majors are kind of screaming, sideways. We have downtrend set up. Again, New Zealand is not necessarily my favorite pair. Sideways, this one. Yeah, I mean, it's all sideways. All right, looking across. And again, V, just so you guys know, if you're trying to figure out what V is, it's this. Okay, basically means it's a downtrend setup violation. It's an anchor break. Okay. And again, you guys can see it's going straight up. CAD Swiss, which again we don't look at, is downtrend setup. Pound dollar, again, sideways. It's the same situation that we're seeing over here. It's downtrend setup on all these pairs, meaning that we are obviously seeing some green candles in this one. But again, sideways down confirmed, meaning that it is below the anchor to the downside. Intercendies are climbing now, so you may be right. That way the drawdown won't hit the market below the belt. Yep. Like I said, in everything that I keep hearing today, I just feel like that number is going to be negative. It's going to shoot the market back down again. I think people are like really into that right now. Like I said, the closer we get to the elections, the more I think the market will start to collapse. And then Aussie CAD, again, is another pair we don't look at. Downtrend setup. You can see this one is kind of conflicting as well. We go from downtrend setup to sideways downward bias to uptrend setup, uptrend setup. Okay, so this one is kind of rolling down. Now, just as a reminder as well, and actually what I'll probably do is I'll probably work with, I'm going to meet with Ryan on Wednesday, and I know he has the scanner, so I'm going to probably go through a bit of the scanner with him too about how to fine tune and adjust it to really kind of get it dialed down. One of the things that we talked about, and again, part of the reason why I'm leaving half of this in icons and half not, and again, you guys don't know, I don't look at the 1 hour typically. I will look at the daily, the 4 hour, and the 30-minute for what we do at night, and I've left multiple different time frames up here. And again, easy enough to change. I mean, all you have to do is just stop it, manage the matrix, and it's as simple as changing these around. If I wanted to go, daily 4 hour, get rid of this, change this over 30 minutes, and then take 15. I don't really care about 5 minutes because again, I'm not going to be doing downtrend setups on a 5 minute. But you could do it with I could do it with an hour if I wanted to do 10 minutes as well. I mean, I could do it something like that. Right? And then I can use downtrend setup, so I could use these two, I could use these two, or I could use this, and then obviously a 10 minute, but a 10 minute is not over there. So again, you can adjust it, and I'm going to go through that with Ryan. And what I'll probably do is just save that as a template and kind of share that in chart school and kind of go through that with you guys. Or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just say, hey, this is Ryan's special template. No, but one of the things I'm going to go through with him, and again, a lot of you understand when, you guys are able to understand the trend state. For those of you that have the class, you understand the trend states, right? You understand what a downtrend setup is. But here's the thing, okay? When you're doing this right, when you're using the scanner, you're not really necessarily looking for a downtrend setup. You're looking for what the pattern is before the setup. And I'm not going to tell you what it is because I want you guys to do the work to figure it out yourselves. So don't type it in, but you have to figure it out yourselves. But here's how the scanner works. You're not necessarily looking, and again, it's nice to know that all of a sudden, oh, hey, I just logged in, there's a downtrend set up on my 4 hour, let me go check it. But what you want to do is you want to grab it right before it turns into a downtrend setup, okay? Because in a downtrend setup, you may have missed it, or it may be close, or you're like, oh my God, it's right there, and you may just miss it, or you may be like, oh, I got in just too late, right? If you know what the setup is one before the downtrend setup, now you're golden. Because if price moves up or down, it's all of a sudden going to give you that setup command. Well, you're already prepared for it if it does. If it doesn't, then don't worry about it. There's no trade. You don't have to miss anything. But that's how you really take this and become an if this, then that trader. So that's kind of like the hidden little gem about the scanner. Go back one phase before the uptrend setup or the downtrend setup. And once you've mastered that, then you can look at the scanner and say, oh, look at that. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I want you guys to figure it out again. But when you see it, you're going to say, oh, that's money right there, because if price goes, for example, if price goes up, I will be in a downtrend setup, and when it goes up to hit my zone, I know that when it goes up, it's going to rally. It will change from its pattern now to a downtrend setup, and bam, my order is right there. If it continues to push away, your order never gets filled. No harm, no foul, no big deal. You don't have to sit there and watch it. Okay. Yeah, you could use those. Yeah, those are fine. Intraday, I may change them a little bit, but it's okay. Yeah, yeah. But hopefully you guys get what I'm saying with that. Yep. Retest of zone. Hmm? What? What's that have to do with the phase, James? What are you talking about? James are DQ, and he's like, we're retesting the zone right now. I want one chocolate, and I want one butterscotch dip. Oh, the gem. No, it's not a retest of the zone. It's just it's basically prefacing what is it going to be before it becomes like when you know what it's going to be beforehand. When it finally moves in the direction that you want it to move to, it will become a downtrend setup or an uptrend setup. But you already have your trend. You already have your trade planned. You already know where your zone is. That's the way that you look at it and say, okay. So a lot of people focus on, hey, I'm looking for downtrend setups. No, the answer is no. You should not. You could do that, right? I guess, but there's a better way to do it. To do the if this then that trading. That's what you want to do. You want to use it as a foreshadower. And again, what I would do is, that's where you start changing these things around, right? These are just a standard coloration. I haven't really messed with it too much. I use it real quick, but I actually have it on charts as well. If you guys notice my Ninja Trader pages, I have these. All these are in the upper right hand. They're all sitting right here, in the upper right hand corner. And again, I have multiple monitors, so I have a lot of different things. But I do use the scanner as well. I have the scanner up on another monitor. If I'm doing something else, I will have the scanner up and I'll look for the specific patterns. I just haven't changed the colors, but it's the same thing. It's easy. You can go in here and change this, and you can change some of these things. Actually, I guess it's I have the different templates in here. I think it is actually it may be up here. Data? No, it's not data. It's in here somewhere. There's a way to change it all. Manage the instruments. No. It's got to be in the matrix in here. Oh, here it is. There you go. You can change it this way. So you can see it there. Right? So like some people really like the violations, so they keep this one, right? And downtrend, same thing. So you guys can mess with these and figure out what you like the best and change it to the right one. But I'm not going to tell you. I want you guys to figure it out. All right, so let's just jump back over and head into the charts. I believe it is this one. Bam, there we go. All right, so let's start off on OCN. So this is one of the trade setups that we had today. You guys can see this one actually basically triggered Friday, right? And then it finally completed this morning. Okay, it went Friday, pushed all the way down. And again, we didn't really talk. Obviously, we don't talk on Friday nights, right? But this one triggered Friday at about 7 a.m. in the morning. And I know some of you got this one. But again, if you did hold over the weekend, great. You guys know that I don't really hold over the weekends. Price basically where its initial spike is where it ended, was down here. But here was the completion that we had talked about. Price rallied all the way back down to the purple level. And again, it was a level that we had talked about that it had respected before. It bounced here, bounced here, bounced here, bounced here. Came back down, went right through it, came down to about, 72.65, and then started to retrace back up again. So again, it's basically just staying within inside of a tiny range. You guys can see over here on the daily. We kind of came down and we actually drove really deep into that zone, and then again it pushed up, and then it kind of reestablished itself, right? It pushed across. It's a double, but there was some orders reestablished up here in this position on the green candle. So again, we are sideways because yesterday, it's a Sunday candle, but it is red. It is inside of the green prior candle, so we are considered basically moving sideways. No trend basically means nothing, right? But we did have that trend set up. We ran into a 4-hour zone and we dropped down. Now, and the reason I'm going through this is that 4-hour zone is still valid for me. We only really grazed the very top of it. We went about what is it? Let's see, 29 to 34. So we went about 4 pips into the zone. It is still valid. And again, for me, the news, I'm still looking at kind of both of these ranges. I'm looking at really kind of here. Actually, this is my profit target line. Let me use a different line here. Change this. We're going to change this to blue. There's one. Really there. And there. I didn't hit more times, did I? Yeah, God. Ah, there we go. All right, so for me, these are kind of what I'm using. You're talking about 30 pips up, 30 pips down on this one. As far as the news that can drive it to either direction. And those would be areas I'd be looking for buying and selling in either direction to kind of play any type of retracement. All right. Again, those are actually, no, that would be higher. It would be, there we go. Yeah, that would be right. Okay. And again, those are 4-hour zone buying and selling zones. So that's kind of what I'm looking for in this one. Right now would be, selling up here, looking for buys down in this direction, particularly if it's a new spike. Like I said, I don't know the building permits is going to move it. I think a lot of this will more have to do with kind of the rate change. It would be great if the building permits could drive it to one of these zones. So we were in that area for the rate change, but I don't know if we're going to get that lucky. We'll see how it folds out. So next pair is also New Zealand. What is this? There we go. I was like, I got a message from somebody, but I can't figure out how to get rid of it. All right. Kind of a similar setup, right? We saw, in this case, we had a large pop here on Sunday, right? Sunday drove us right into this 4-hour zone, and again, we retraced back down again. Looking at the lower time frames, you can see we did miss a bit of the retracement. It didn't quite go all the way down. But again, big spike down on the 30-minute, big spike up again, and that all occurred this morning between 10:30 and 11 o'clock. When you bring it back today, this morning, you can see that there really wasn't a ton there. And again, this is probably most likely just the U.S. reacting to everything that we had. You guys can see there's really not even nothing even hidden in there. So again, just one spike down, one spike up. We are at the upper end of the range. So again, in this one as well, I would have to say I'm more bearish. We are at the upper end of the range. We did breach above this blue area, right? The blue area was kind of where we were looking to get short in the position. A little bit harder of an entry on this one, right? Going into Monday, because this piece here from Sunday night, right, was kind of we can't say this is a failure to go higher situation, right? Because price did actually go higher, right? So again, a little bit of a harder entry. Had you gotten into it, you would have been able to get a short probably around 107.85, and price went down into 107.51. So you had about 30 pips retracement on this one to the downside, but nothing super spectacular. Like I said, of the three, this is the one that will typically move the least. This one will have some movement tonight, but I think it will be more blunted than the other two, only because whatever happens, the Aussie typically also happens to New Zealand. So it's kind of one of those pairs. It's kind of hard to play with just Australian news. It will move, but for the most part, what happens to Australia also happens to New Zealand. Building approvals, and maybe a little bit, but the rate change will definitely, again, it'll be blunted just because if they change, I mean, the New Zealand has already changed it recently, and again, that means if the Aussie does it, then New Zealand's gonna have to do it again because again, they do have competing markets, so just be a bit cautious with that. But I do like that we're at the top side. Definitely a bit more bearish on this one. Looks like we're gonna have a hard time getting back up in the sell zone at 108.18. All right. Yeah, you got in on this one earlier. Yep. Remember we mentioned that earlier. All right. Looking across at Aussie dollar now. Aussie dollar, when you look for the day, pretty flat, right? Not a whole lot there. And we talked about this last week that we're kind of wedged between two different buying and selling zones. And same thing. Okay, here was that Friday move up, and we came right back down and then kind of stopped, right? And then the Sunday candle started here. We kind of went down. We wicked up, came back down, and now we're moving back up again. So even look at the 30-minute, you can see we've basically stayed in this area and we floated around 67.60. It's very flat. Okay, the green is obviously engulfed. We are down at the lower end. If we take the highs and lows here, you can see we are definitely down close to the buying zone at the bottom. So in this case, I'm, the last one I was probably more bearish. This one I'm probably more bullish. Not even really. I'm trying to think if I would take another sell off this one. Probably. If we get a new spike up, let's see how much time we got here. And it's only about 30. Let's see, what do we got here, ATR wise? Oh, geez, the ATR on this pair is down to 35. That is horrible. Look at that. Back here in August, we were up in like the 50s. Now we're down to 35 on this pair. Oh, unfortunately, that's just not. I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't know that. I'd love to say if this thing pops up to that sell zone on the 4-hour, we take a Nadex binary short, but I'm just not sure we're going to get enough movement to retrace it back in time. I feel like that's going to be the biggest issue with this pair. All I gotta say is I hope we do get some movement, because if not, we're gonna start eating up these two bigger candles here. This thing's gonna go even flatter. This pair's getting rough. But again, sideways movement, no trend. You try a retracement later on, but we'll see what we get out of it. Looking at pound Aussie. So you guys can see that pound Aussie did have obviously a downtrend set up, right? We were going big down, right? We did get a pull up, right? And again, this was a little bit of a risky one, because you can see these two purples, right? These purples are a buying zone. So it didn't quite get in there. It did pull up. It did grab more candles down here, right? Again, descending wicks in this area. So not surprised it pulled from there. I'll box it off real quick for those that are new. Oh, who's that? Man, it keeps lagging. Right there. Okay. But again, it is kind of pinched in. So yes, we did have a zone. It did push lower, but unfortunately, we do have this single wick over here and these ascending candles. So unfortunately, the profit target was not that far away. Okay, so it would have been a little bit risky. All right. Now, for those of you that were looking to get on Sunday night, you guys will see here. Here was Friday. Here was Sunday. Okay. Here was your Sunday night gap play. Okay. And what did it do? We talked about this blue line being a target, right? Because it's just above. Had you taken this small gap zone here, you would have got in. And your risk total in this trade was about 15 pips. And your profit target to head back up again to the blue line, we had marked that off last week, was 108. Okay. So that was a nice little trade setup from Sunday. Okay. And again, on this one, we had a downtrend. It gapped in the opposite direction of the trend, in which case we use the trend as a takeoff point in the opposite direction. Okay, so that was a nice little setup for about 108 pips. Remember, this one is $6.75 a pip. Just make sure that when you're position sizing yourself, you're a little bit careful about that one. Just be aware that you're like, oh, that's $1,000. No, it's not, because it's $6.75, not $10 per pip. But again, this one, let me see. I'll pull it up for you guys. Bring this across. So we're just going to round it up. It was 15.8. 16 times 675. You can see in this trade, your risk was $108. And your profit was $7.29. Okay. So not a bad risk to reward ratio. Just about 7-1, right? Not a bad way to start the week, right off of a single gap play. And you can look, you really took no heat in this at all, right? Came up. We took, kind of went back on you a little bit here, right? And you may have said, I don't know. But again, didn't really, it flipped, right? But you did have a nice little kind of pullback here, and then it came up and over. So even if you only pulled it to the top section and then you took yourself out, you were still getting 60, 70 pips out of here. You're still getting 4 or 5 to 1. Great trade setup. The initial target we talked about was up in the zone. So had you stay with it originally and not mess with it, you were good, right? But 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio trade, you're talking about it being here, right? So you can see, it didn't really pull back much, and it drove through. So, even if you were trailing on a lower thing, you still should have gotten 90 out of it, right? So, you should have got a, easy bit out of that one. All right. Again, Sunday night gap play on that one. I'll put it right there. And there's where the target was. All right. So, euro pound. All right, euro pound. Now, this is an interesting one. Okay, we talked about this last week. This was easy 60 pips out of this one. I'm not really sure. I don't know. Hopefully everybody got this one. I don't know if anybody actually even posted this today. I feel like somebody should have. I talked about it earlier this morning as well. This was a zone we talked about last week. Okay, we drew all these things. We talked about where there's levels in here. We talked about alerts and things like that. We drew the level. Again, this is a wick over wick. It barely touched it last time and shot away, and then we had two unsuccessful kind of attempts to push back into the same zone. This one triggered this morning. Actually, I guess it triggered Friday and then just held. And you can see here's Sunday. So this is one of those ones that I do like a lot. And here's why. We closed here. We opened at the same exact spot right here. Okay. So a lot of times I'm not comfortable holding things over the weekend because, again, Russia invades Ukraine on weekends. People shoot missiles on Friday nights like the fireworks. The rebels, they allegedly shot, they fired 10 drones and blew up half the oil refinery, supposedly. All on Saturday. But in this case, what happened, we opened right inside of that zone. Risk wasn't bad. It was about, 20, about 20 pips risk on that one. And what did it do? It went sideways. And then all of a sudden, again, this morning at 3 a.m. when, London opened, boom. Sucker collapsed 65 pips almost instantaneously. So there was almost no heat whatsoever in this trade. Here, I'll spread it out right here for you guys. Oop, not that far. Right there, you guys can see. I mean, look, here's your maximum level of heat in this trade. Was 8 pips, right? 8 pips. I think it was 20 right there. Right there. All right. So it really didn't take much, right, to get in this trade. And again, had you been in Nadex, who would have cared? It wouldn't have mattered. Again, nice little 60 pip run to the downside. But again, spot currencies, great trade. And again, we talked about where the bottom was going to be. This is a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio trade. Okay, you don't want to get greedy on something like this, particularly when it's 20. As soon as you saw this big spike and kind of a retrace, you probably most likely would have got out. You'd still be profitable if you were in the trade now. Looking back across, it's just above kind of where this line is. Okay, but with 20 pips, like I said, anything more than about 50 to 60 pips is starting to get a little bit greedy in my eyes. But again, pretty easy grab on this one. I was surprised that more people didn't post that they made money on this one because we'd actually set it up last week. That one's been set up since, last Monday? So, I mean, all week we've had that 4-hour zone up there. Too much. Oh, and the president farted on the weekend and it moves the market. If he tweets, it will, yeah. If he gets a hole in one, sure. Like I said, it'll be interesting. Whoever the next president is, whether he gets a second term or if he doesn't get a second term, it'd be interesting to see if how much the next president actually tweets. Because there's multiple world leaders that are now tweeting. It'll be interesting to see if if there is still a tweeting president next time. We'll see how that works out. But again, so nice little setup. Where we are now, again, we had this big pullback. It did push back down again. It is trying to retrace this big drop. Obviously all eyes is going to be on the pound, as you guys can see. Let me bring this across, slow this down. We'll do it this way. We'll apply filter, and we'll go for the week. So you can see, again, what I click, Euro and pound, high impact news. Here, I'll add medium to it. Not a lot going on this week, right? So, with that being said, I don't expect any huge, big spikes, pushes either way. I mean, I guess if there's a tweet from Boris, then maybe, yeah, there'll be something moving. Or maybe if he tries to close down Parliament or something else happens again, I don't know. But besides that, there's not going to be a whole lot of economical news releases that are really driving this week. Okay, so just be cautious of that when you're looking at this pair, because yeah, there's not a whole lot going on. Yeah. All right. And technically, this one we are in an uptrend setup. Okay, we were looking for for orders on the 4-hour, but it was an uptrend setup into a 4-hour supply zone. So just be cautious with that kind of stuff. A lot of people get really excited, look at the scanner and be like, ooh, it's an uptrend setup. And you get really excited and you're like, yeah, okay, it is an uptrend setup, but it's an uptrend setup into a selling area, which is a no-no, right? All right. Jumping across the euro yen. What do we got here? Nothing. We had a nice little pop, right? This is on Friday. Came back. Retrace, and then here's Sunday. And what do? We just continued to retrace back down again. Went right back to the start. I mean, again, your profit target was right here. Or not profit target. I mean, I guess your retest. Yeah, sure. It went right back down to where it was and then just kind of went flat. So as you can see, the green is obviously engulfed to the downside. We were in a downtrend setup. It was red. It didn't actually hit the target. This is the sending wicks, and we did talk about this on Friday. But as far as kind of excitement today, really not a whole lot. I mean, here's the first Sunday. Here's a red, green, red confirmation this morning. You could have got a little bit of out of it, but it's not really a huge mover. And at the same time, we're worried about being in this purple zone, right? This purple zone was an area that we talked about last time. Price spiked into it. It immediately, I mean, it didn't. It just immediately went and popped right up in the air, right? So we're really looking for a good quality kind of sell zone. This is quite a lot of risk to be able to take on this, and again, that's why we didn't take it Friday. You could have, but not the best. Even this zone, you're talking about going from 118.48 down to 118.24. So you're talking about 25 pip risk on this one. To do what, right? We need to get out of this area. Okay, we need to break through this zone. Okay, we need to break through. We need to get one of these kind of white space triangles down here, right? We need one of one of these things, right, to go below. Some type of a break below here. Go around this. Right, we need to go around this piece, and then get our entry, and we can take a momentum breakout to the downside. All right, but right now we got nothing. Right, nothing on this guy. Right, and again, not surprised. Euro dollar. Okay, euro dollar will be tradable this week. There are a couple different plays and setups with the U.S. dollar that will definitely send this thing moving. As you can see, it's continuing to drive lower. I love it. We're down below 109 right now. It's exciting. This thing is continuing to drive lower. Now, didn't have a whole lot of entry or ability to get into this one. We had this one set up here from last Thursday night that we had set up. You guys can see it did touch here on Friday. Okay, if I can bring this across right there. Okay, I use the body, and again, it's still tagged it. You could have held something, and again, it didn't do much. It ended basically where that was actually Friday, and then the Sunday candle is here. Okay. So another situation where it didn't really move much of the weekend. There was no gap, no real kind of gap play. Didn't really get a ton of entries into this one. And again, even the pullback really wasn't great. So although it's continuing to drive down, the 30-minute didn't really give us any entry. The only entry we had from this one was last week. But it's great that it's moving lower. Any type of if we get some good U.S. data, I mean, we may even get into the it may be possible getting into like the high 107s this week, which would be incredible with this pair. You guys can see this. Look at this. Last time we were back in this range was basically the end of 2016, beginning of 2017. And once we can break this zone here, right, which is what we're into, we have an easy fall to parity, basically, which was basically back in 2003. So pretty exciting. It's like, ooh. And that's where you start booking trips. You start, national lampooning it, right? European vacation, baby. That's what's coming up. But unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of entries to get into this one. There wasn't a lot of pullbacks to decent areas. It is starting to run into a lot. This is a monthly chart, by the way. Again, it's starting to run into a lot of stuff down here in the monthly, right? Dropping down to a weekly on this one. Kind of the same thing. You guys can see there was a bit of a gap here. And again, you guys know that this gap is going to be strong here from 107.70 to 106.25. Okay, so we are hitting descending candles. We're at gap 2, which is making this a little interesting, right? Okay, move this out of the way. So just be a bit cautious. Okay, I love the short on this one. I love its momentum. I love its progress. But it's starting to run into an area where we've seen buyers kind of step in before. Ernest getting Lamborghini. Ernest, you will look. I'm telling you right now, if you buy a Lamborghini, James has to promise me to find a set of Longhorns and mount those things on the front of that Lamborghini like Boss Hog. He absolutely has to do it. If you do that, we will definitely have a live event in Houston or in Dallas, I guess, where you guys are all at. Absolutely, James, that's your job. I want Longhorns, and I want you to figure out a way to glue those suckers to the front of Ernest's Lamborghini. All right? And then we're going to make Ernest cook for everybody. That's what we're doing. All right? Somebody find a picture of that, please. Please, somebody find a picture and post that in Discord. All right, so let's jump over to Euro Aussie. Um, mm, come on, you can load. All right, so Euro Aussie is also continuing to push down. Okay, now one different thing about Euro Aussie is this one actually does have some areas on the 30-minute. You can see we've had enough movement back and forth. You guys can see that we have basically like descending wicks here, and it's already touched that zone once. But then this was another zone. It really kind of failed to get in there, so you could potentially take this a bit early. But also we have this level of basing here. We'll take that as well. Okay, so we have a couple areas, at least on the 30-minute, that are pushing lower. Now, here's where we got to be cautious with this one, though, is we have this level of basing. And again, this wick right here, this red wick, right where the cursor is right now, that's kind of where we're at right now. Okay, this is the wick I'm talking about right here. Okay, this wick barely came down and touched this zone, this base in here. So we know that there's been buyers here before, but look just slightly lower. You also have a base right here. So this one is not a clean descent, and it keeps running into things. And the last time it touched this blue zone, it popped up, and we're kind of in there again. So there are orders being eaten up, and those orders are looking like they could fail. I mean, again, we are pushing back out of the zone now. It didn't even go as low as kind of what the prior attempt was, but it's looking for orders. That's why you can kind of see it pushing up and grabbing things. So it's an interesting play on this one to be able to take this one, farther south. I do believe this one has some room to run to the downside. The one caveat is going to be we're going to have to see what Aussie does tonight. Now you can see there really wasn't. I mean, there's a 30-minute chart, but you'll see there really wasn't a whole lot of spike here. Let's look back at the. Oh, there you go, building approvals. So it's supposed to be 2.1, and it came in as negative 1.1, right? And there's really, there's not a whole. Let's drop it down to a 5-minute. You see, not even really like a big. What are we talking here, top to bottom? Talking about 13 pips, 12 pips, top to bottom. Okay, so just not a huge mover, unfortunately. All eyes are going to be on the rate change. I think that's what's going to matter most for the rate change. All right. Now we are inside of a buy zone. You're just going to be cautious about that right now. Technically speaking, making the Australian dollar cheaper or lowering the interest rate on that one should devalue that a bit. Okay. Which would also give this one an upward potential. But that's what the market's preparing for right now. It's actually driven it down into the buying area. This is unfortunately not an 8x pair, so again, be a bit cautious. The worst thing you want to do is get into a currency pair expecting it to go higher, not understand that your spread's going to widen up, and then basically have the spread pop you on this one because of the volatility associated with an interest rate change. Okay, looking at pound yen. Okay, pound yen. Okay, we are now at 111 ATR. Okay, so it is coming down. Whew, let's see. Here's Friday. Here's Sunday. And here's Monday. Okay, flat. Okay, 24-hour pip change, 16. So we are 1/10 the daily ATR. Okay, and with a week full of pound news, just kidding, there's none. I think there's going to be a slow grinder. Everything in this pair is going to be, based off of the yen. That's going to be what's driving the movement on this one. I think there's better opportunities out there. I just don't feel like this is one of them. There was a small term short trade that you were able to get into. This pop here, again, that was a Friday trade. We talked about that last week that we had this zone right here, this level of basing. Okay. And again, we've now hit it twice. If it goes through, I do expect it to break this next time through. Because we've had 1 here, 2 here, 3, and it went really, really deep into the zone. If it pushes up again, I'll be looking for a break. I just don't see it being able to hold again. And if we get a momentum break out of the top side of that one, probably the gold line, this 134 is more or less where I feel like it's going to go to. That'll be about a 50 pip mover. Again, wait for a retest of that zone. Have it go through, get some white space, have it come back down, get that position, and then go along with it. And again, this is something that you should be able to probably trade index-wise as well for something like daily. Okay. But again, a further breakdown of this one, it's possible. But again, looking back on the daily, you can see that this wick here is lower than this one. You have descending candles. There's buyers sitting down in this area, and it really hasn't been super impressive either way. I mean, really top and bottom, it's kind of wedged in. Like I said, this zone is not bad. I mean, big drop into it, smaller drop out of it. But again, it's been tested 3 times now, so the likelihood that it's going to break the next time through is getting much, much higher, right? Every time it touches it, it's getting higher and higher and higher. So I just don't feel like if price needs to pull back to grab more orders to drive lower, I just feel like it's going to have a really hard time doing that. So just be cautious about that zone. Looking at the pound dollar, similar situation, right? This candle was lower. Okay, you have a wick over wick. You guys know how much I respect wick over wicks. There. So again, do we have a little bit of room to run? Sure, we got a little tiny bit. Not much, right? And it's having a hard time breaking through this zone right now. Okay, this kind of pre-wick over wick area. So I'd like to say I'm looking for a pullback of some sort. Okay, we marked this off before. We kind of hit the top side here. This one finally drove through, right? Here's your 1, here's your 2. Number 3 is what broke us through. It did pull back up. It didn't actually get to the area, unfortunately. It did respect this zone. It came right off of it. It bounced. It came lower and then kind of based into it. And then what did it do? It dropped below, gave us white space, and gave us the opposite side, right? So if we continue this through to there, you guys will see here is your white space. Oh, there. Okay. There is your white space. Came back up, retested, and is now continuing to push down. Okay. So again, a momentum breakout based off of a 4-hour zone. I think it's going to continue to push down a little bit, but I really do feel that this is going to be a major problem to go through. Like I said, it's hit here and it's gone down as low as 122.31. Oh, excuse me. I thought I was going to sneeze. I thought I was going to sneeze, but I yawned, so I apologize for that one. I feel like this is going to be an area where we run into buyers at 122.60, about 20 pips from where we are right now. So, non-farm, I think this will be a nice mover, though. This is one of the pairs I'm actually kind of excited to look for. I feel like because we haven't heard a lot about out of the UK lately, I feel like the pound is starting to get more on its weaker kind of cycle right now. And again, if we have good US data, then I'm looking to trade this guy. Bad US data, I'll be looking to trade euro. All right. Let's go across pound New Zealand. Okay, and without Newsweek, pound New Zealand is going to be kind of funky, right? Now, right now we are in an interesting situation on this one, right? I mean, it's kind of hard to say what we are in because this is definitely a pullback, right? The red went below the green, so it's technically not engulf, but it's sideways down confirmed. Is basically what the scanner is saying across all time frames. And again, a little bit of a harder one for this one. The biggest thing we're looking for is, again, we did have this downtrend pullback. We did come up and we did touch the zone. So technically there is entry. You would be in a short position right now had you been looking to take this one. The risk was not high on it. Okay. The risk on this one, about 30. Again, you say, wait, that's a lot. Well, yeah, but the ATR on this one is 150. So it's not as far as you think. And we had it didn't burst till down here. So, I mean, your actual target in this one is about 135 pips away. That's kind of what you're looking for right there, right? 125. So you're right around a 4-to-1 risk to reward ratio trade. So it is technically a valid trade setup. You would be in it right now, and you'd be up about 50 pips. You know, at your peak right now, you would have been up 77, right? But right about now, you're up about 45 pips. Okay, so that's where you're looking to go to, is about there. On that one. All right. But again, at this point, you'd have your stop loss at break even. There's no point. There's no reason to risk anything at this point. Again, it's starting to rally back up again. After we kind of had this second failure to the downside in here, once we broke through, I'd probably taken myself out at a 1-to-1, 1.5. I didn't trade this pair. I don't look at this as not one of the ones I typically look at in my account. But again, setup is valid. Came back up, grabbed the 4-hour. Again, downtrend setup on the daily. 4-hour came up, grabbed it, dropped, refined it here. Put your profit target. Profit target makes sense. Not a bad trade. Okay. Let's see. Let's switch over to New Zealand dollar. Now, the crazy thing is New Zealand dollar actually has a higher ATR than the Aussie dollar right now. Right? This one is continuing to push lower. Now, ended up banking, we ended up hitting right off the profit target, came down again. We talked about that before. Okay. This one hit on Sunday. Again, if you held over the weekend, right? Here was your Friday. There's your Sunday. Between these two candles, so you could re-open the same position. It blew right through. Now, what did it do? Hold on, let me go to the ATR on this one, just because I just told you that. Okay, ATR on this one is 42. So see, it's 6 higher, which is crazy that it's more than what the Aussie is. Okay, Now, once again, what was this? We talked about a level here. Here was your profit target. And again, if we wanted to draw it across, this is what it would have looked like. Actually, we would have probably taken the wick over wick. Probably wouldn't have gone that low. We probably would have gone here. Right? And you guys can see, right? Did we get white space below? Yes. Is it the best? No, but again, it was a nice little retest under. Okay. Man, that's an ugly triangle. I hate the how it snaps. Oh, there you go. I got it now. There you go. Boom. So under, again, break, retest, entry short. It's in now. And again, you guys are up, pretty nicely in this one as well. Same type setup. Okay. Momentum breakout. This is not a reversal. This is a continuation pattern. And again, when it was driving back up on the daily, it was a downtrend setup. Okay, so it was important to make sure this is one of those ones that you could have prefaced this one ahead of time. Once we spiked all the way down to here, you could have said, "Yeah, I'm going to go short if this one comes through." And again, it rallied up. You took a little bit of heat in this one, but when we say a little bit, we're not talking tons. I mean, we're talking 8 pips, 9 pips. So I mean, at 10 pip risk, you're sitting right there. Whoops, there's 10 pips risk, right? You would have stayed in the trade completely. You guys can see it down here. I'll change it to a different color so you guys can get a better view of it. There. Would you have stayed in the trade? Yep. At this point, you are now up from that zone entry. You're up 17. And it's continuing to pull away still. Okay. So again, not a bad little setup based off of the break of the prior zone that we had talked about. Again, dotted line was our target short off the 4 hour here. Okay. Now, dollar Swiss. It is sad that this pair was the mover of the day, up 74 in 24 hours. Pretty crazy. Look at this spike. Okay. Look at this spike. Interesting place we are. So we are, again, it's just been a rocket ship straight up. You can see that its ATR went from 49 all the way up to 52. So it is definitely driving. It's going, right? Now we talked about a zone here. Let me get this out of the way so we can get the angle a little bit better on this one. Okay, we talked about this was not a bad little pullback. It was off this basing here. It came up and retested once, but it was still pretty valid. It was very, very, very explosive off of that zone, right? I mean, look at this. This is a heck of a run to the downside from this zone, right? Came back up, came higher again, it made another attempt, and now we're pushing back up to there. Now, there's a lot going on, obviously. I mean, again, this thing is just driving crazily, but if we take this and extend it all the way across, okay, that's what we're kind of running into. And again, I think that was originally drawn off the 4 hour. That little thing there off. Save myself this. Yeah, that was the right zone. Right there. All right, so that's what we're starting to approach. Take some of these off just to clear some of the stuff out of there. All right, so that's what we're starting to get into. So it is rallying. It is trying to push into that zone. It'd be very interesting to see what it does, if that's going to be the turnaround or the flip, okay? Now, again, Swiss doesn't really have a whole lot of news. We are going to news tomorrow. It would be nice if this thing can just grind up into that zone overnight, and then we could go into ISM being in that zone. I'd probably be willing to take an 8x short, like a 2 hour binary beforehand. Now, again, this pair doesn't move as much as some of the other ones, but it's not like the other ones are necessarily moving right now. So this, again, wouldn't be a bad one to take news-wise on a 2 hour to see if we can get kind of a push back down again. Because bad ISM manufacturing would be weaker dollar, stronger Swiss. Again, drive this pair straight back down again. So this would be an 8x pair, really kind of figuring out how it's going to come back into this range somewhere. Okay, that kind of retracement. All right. All right, let's go across to dollar CAD. So dollar CAD is the one I told you that's been pretty ugly, right? We're stuck in this, again, same box, right? A lot of wicks. I mean, look at this. This is super wicky, tiny bodies. Again, here's your Monday candle right here. It's basically start, finish. Look at this. I mean, what is this? Right? Here's Friday. There's Sunday. We kind of went down, up, and same exact spot. So really, I mean, we're talking about being inside of, a 15 pip window. So not really anything in this one. Again, I mentioned before we have the Canadian news here on Tuesday morning, 8:30 a.m. We will see a kind of a spike in this one. Unfortunately, it's kind of like, all right, let's look at this on a 4-hour. Okay, where we got a good zone? Let's see. I mean, there's a zone here. It's not bad. It's been pushed kind of deeply, right? But we got this, right? Actually, we'll cheat a little bit. We'll say we're gonna be nice and say it's there. Okay, so we got one there. Let's see, top side. It's hard because this candle went all the way through. I mean, really, it's like kind of can use this. I mean, these are descendings here. I mean, we can kind of, if we really wanted to do something, we can kind of go there. I mean, sort of. I mean, I don't really love it. It's okay. I mean, it is a big push down, but I mean, really, I think that the first super clean thing that stands out is that, right? I mean, I almost kind of just want to say, listen, this is just too choppy. I mean, it's a bunch of lower highs, right? I mean, I'd much rather just, kind of delete that and kind of just continue this across as far as, last time price got up into that area, that's where we really saw, sellers step in and drive this down. But besides that, there's just not there, right? I mean, again, this has just been so ugly. This sideways it's just junk for me. It's kind of this over the top piece. Look at dollar yen. So dollar yen again, like I said, will be interesting tomorrow, just for the fact that you guys can see right here, ISM manufacturing, 10 o'clock. So looking at this one, we are starting to approach an area where again we had sellers. Now it's not the most ideal environment. It is a double top piece, so again, it's not the most beautiful zone, but again, we'll see we'll see where we are when news comes in. Okay, what I think would be great is if we can actually rally overnight and get into this zone. Oh, there's the shark. I see the shark. If we can get up into that zone right before news tomorrow, like I mean, we're only talking about 19 to 35. So I mean, it's got to push up. I mean, it can do 20 pips overnight. But if we can be in that zone when ISM manufacturing comes out tomorrow, I'd definitely be looking for some type of a Nadex short. Something out of the money, see if we can get a 40 or 50 pip spike to the downside. Like I said, I think because of the lack of kind of true movement, anything that can potentially, weaken the dollar or shoot the dollar to the downside, definitely think people are going to be overly sensitive to it. So if we can get up into that zone, again, not the best. I'm just going to say right now, it's not the best zone. Just by the way it's formed because the wicks are there. Just be a bit cautious with that. Besides that, I mean, really the next thing we have is up here, all the way at 109.07. I mean, you're talking about 80 pips. I mean, could it move 80 pips on ISM? I don't know. That's a lot. For on the extreme side, that's a lot. I mean, 50 pips, 60 pips, maybe 70. But like 80, 90, that's a big move. So, I mean, we're going to have to see kind of, I mean, if it rallies up overnight, a fair amount, maybe. I mean, if we're back in the 40 to 50 pip range before news, then yeah, I'd be using this top zone. Okay, if price spikes and then I'll start taking shorts from here. Like I said, downside. I mean, ideally, this was our profit target before this green hash line. I'm feeling like because of the quality of the news, and again, guys, this popped through and came back up. Probably would do this. Most likely what I'll look at tomorrow and use this as my top and bottom. We can get a spike either direction. See how far apart are these two things. You're talking about 122. So again, it's quite a range. Again, if this rallies back down in the middle, that would be a better spot for what we're looking for. At this point, I definitely have to think I'm more bearish. Like I said, I think it has a better chance right now of coming up into here versus getting in the middle and then spiking down or up into a zone. So I think the top one is probably a bit better. Any trades I can have? I don't know. I've been talking about trades for an hour, King Bell. So yeah, guys, that's what I think I would do with this one. I definitely think I would probably take this an out of the money Nadex pair in the morning if we can grind up into it. If not, we'll see. like I said, I think a 2 hour tomorrow morning is probably going to be the best on this one. Um, Now, if we can spike up into this top zone, then I'll be taking this probably more of a weekly position. I'll switch over and take that in spot currency, just because this was a very strong zone. We see price hit, failed, didn't even get here again, went up, and it barely grazed the zone, and it just launched itself off of it. This large candle in a daily was very, very nice. I love the formation here. I love that it just touched. And again, this one was 240 pips. Okay, 240 pips on an ATR of what, 54. I mean, even at that time, you can see the peak. The most we got here was up to 70, was up to 80, 79.9, right? 80 pips is right here at its peak, and that's taken the biggest move on here. That was 240 pips in one move. So again, there was a lot of pressure shooting this thing straight down. If we get back up there again, I definitely want to be short this position. Um, I'm just hoping that it does it earlier in the week and we don't go into it. Put it this way, I don't really want to go into non-farm with that. Where we are right now, I want us to either be up there or kind of rallied back again. Okay. Again, non-farm, we can definitely move 100, 150 on that one. That one I'm cool with it bursting this high, but I don't think ISM is gonna. I don't think ISM can reach it, unfortunately. All right. But non-farm, yeah, I'm all over the non-farm. How? Let's see. Hold on. How would you say a daily racetrack was valid for? Oh, how long would it be for? Um, it really depends on how long it is. I mean, think about it. I mean, like for an example in this one, right? So this, right? This move here was 254. Okay, the ATR average you can see, but minus the big spike again, that was because of that candle. Your ATR is about 55. So technically, it should take 5 days to retrace it on average. I mean, look right here. We can count it across, right? If we kind of started our retracement at the gold line, and let's just say that it went up, and again, it came right to the profit target. But you're talking about 11 days. I mean, this one didn't quite make it. You're still talking about 6 bars, 6 days, right? So it really depends on how. A lot of it's doing formation. I mean, yes, you could have a mirror top like this, right, where it's down and up. But something like this that is this huge. I mean, this is a more standard version, right? An example. Here you're talking about 154, which is that is your typical retracement, right? Right. This is a typical move. And what did it do? We got the reversal candle here. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I mean, technically, this one came back up because your profit target would have been the bottom of the green, and it hit it, right? So technically, this one did it in 2 days. Okay. But something that's big obviously makes it last longer. Yeah. No, it's like I said, that's the one problem with Nadex is, again, you don't I mean, everything's going to expire on Friday, so you may not have enough chance. A lot of these retracements, you're going to have to take them in the currency world. And sometimes, again, there's two options. One, you can hold over the weekend if you're comfortable with that. But if you're not comfortable with holding it over the weekend, then you're going to have to close the position, wait till Sunday, and then reopen it. I mean, yeah, there's a risk that it could go in your favor, sure, over the weekend and gap, but again, that's just luck. You don't know when that stuff's going to happen. Or vice versa. You could have been close to your profit target, held it over the weekend, and it went against you. And then you opened up in a negative position. I mean, heck, you could be opening up with your account negative if it went far enough, right? So again, there's the weekend risk in that. And that's why a lot of this matters. What day of the week is it hitting? What quality of news is it? How much can it move in a typical day? So I mean, yeah, there's a lot of factors in there. Mouth flutter. And a lot of people don't understand that one. Yeah. So I mean, yes, it will retrace. It just how long is it going to take? So. All right. We'll look at CAD Yen again. CAD Yen we'll focus on more tomorrow because that'll be an oil play. It's only Monday. Like I said, CAD is an ugly pair. Not really into the pair too much right now and trading it. For me, I'll look at that more for oil. Okay. You guys can see it's again still grinding a bit higher. It's kind of in no man's land. Again, it did break. It came back and retested this zone. You guys can see, again, I'm not going to put the triangle there, but you guys can see it broke through the top, re-entered, and then went higher. And again, it's not quite up there, and it's kind of running out of steam. So we'll see. Like I said, we'll get a better read on this one tomorrow night about where we're going to be in preparation for oil and see if this week can give us an oil position or not. We will We'll figure it out. But again, I'll pull up the oil chart tomorrow also, and we'll see if it's better to run with a proxy or just the oil charts. Okay. All right. Nadex weekly, one strike out as the first of the week. Yeah. Okay. All right. So AP are entered right now. Anybody else wants to get into the drawing for the pip chips? Exclamation point ticket right now. I know some of you guys want to kind of snag it at the last second. I'll give you guys that option. Ernest is like, yep, I'm going to put in. If Ernest wins, you guys are literally not going to put in anything until that last second. Wealth Builder got in. I'm telling you right now, if he, that's what's going to happen. First time I've seen the shark. Yep, the shark is in there, man. Ernest got me again. Oh, Q snuck in. All right. Here we go. 15 seconds, guys. When this hits 1 hour and 5, I'm going to shut it down. Give me my chips. Oh, Mac snuck in. Look at this. Look at that. Mac, I'm telling you, Mac showed up just for that purpose. I'm telling you. And I said I would close it, so I had to shut it down right there for Angry Mac. All right, Mac, I'm really hoping that you win this one right now. I'm rooting for Mac. I'm just going to say it right now. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's Wealth Builder. Oh, he got in so close. That's probably because I gave like that final warning. So, Mac, I was pulling for you, buddy, but Wealth Builder, congratulations on that one. I'm going to mark that one as complete. Nobody else can win that one. So good. And Wealth Builder is coming up the ranks. All right. Also this week, not 250. Man, I would get so much flack for that one. Also this week, we will do another contest. Actually, what I will probably do is, let's see. Let me go to a high impact news releases for the week. Maybe we'll do it for this release, so that way I can award them on the same night. I don't know. You guys can let me know inside of Discord whether I should do it for the non-farm employment change or if I should do it for crude oil this week. We'll do it for one of those two, maybe. Because remember, it's got to be one or the other. Yeah, maybe we'll do it that way. We'll do another contest for some, mega pip chips again. Yeah, we'll set that up. We'll do that tomorrow night. I'll set it up beforehand. You guys want to do non-farm number? All right, we'll do non-farm number. We'll do above 140 or below 150. Or above 140 or below 140 is what we'll do. So I'll set it up tonight for that one. James is like, no, I can't do oil. I already know what it's going to be. All right. Where the heck is my mouse? Oh, I have too many keyboards. No, Super, that doesn't count. I'm telling you. Yes, James. I want longhorns like that. Come on, you guys. I mean, come on. Oh, I'll find a picture for you guys real quick. I'm telling you, this is what I want. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Oh, those are little ones. Here you go. This is what I'm looking for. When Ernest gets a Lamborghini, this is what I want, James. I want them to go from one side all the way to the other on the front of that car. So you guys saw it here first. Boss hog pictures are just so funny. Here, this is what we're doing. This is what I'm gonna ship Ernest this for Christmas this year. I'll pull this off and I'll like super glue it to a Lamborghini. It's like Boss Hog, right? It is. It's Boss. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, Ernest said he's getting a Lamborghini when the Euro goes to parity. So I told him he's got to put horns on it. So, all right, guys. So I will set up the contest tomorrow night so we can figure out. We'll do the ADP non-farm employment change. Do your research today. Look at the employments, see how they've been going. Look at anything ADP related in here, and we'll do that thing tomorrow night. We'll keep it cute. Oh, James is throwing it down. It's going to be the Lamborghini Toros. Nice. I love it. All right, guys. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to go grab some more tea. I will catch you guys on Discord tomorrow, and you guys take care.